Today's story is Fancy Nancy and the Posh Puppy. I am ecstatic. That's a fancy word for happy. We're going to get a puppy, a real one. Look, she's being so happy today. I like puppies. I hope we get a papillon like our neighbor's dog. You say it like this, papillon. In French, it means butterfly. I think Fancy Nancy loves butterflies like Grandma does. Papillon. I have never pronounced that word before. Interesting. I help Mrs. Devine take care of Jewel. We take her to the beauty salon. We buy her new ensembles. That's a fancy word for clothes. Papillons are so posh. That's a fancy word for fancy. Jewel does look kind of spoiled. There's only one problem. My parents. Papillons like to stay indoors, my dad says. They're too little. And delicate, my mom says. What about one of these dogs? I shake my head. Too big, too brown, too plain. Sometimes it's hard being the only fancy person in a family. Excuse me. We've had lots of dogs over the years. And I think Emily and Autumn have new doggy. Then I get an idea. That's spectacular. That's a fancy word for great. We can just puppy sit for Jewel. My parents say, okay. So does Mrs. Devine. My family will see how happy we'll be with the papillon puppy. So they're going to babysit. That's probably a good idea. That way you can get practice on how to take care of a puppy. I introduce Jewel to my doll, Maribel. I show my sister how to groom Jewel and how to scoop her poop. Yep, you gotta scoop the poop when they take a walk. Especially in most neighborhoods nowadays, they don't like people pooping on their lawn. That's okay. My sister wants to hold and kiss Jewel. I tell her, you must be gentle. What a responsible girl you are, my mom says. Some dog is going to be very lucky. Merci, I say. That's a French word for thank you. Two of my friends are walking their dogs. They come over to my house, I say. I'm puppy sitting. All the dogs can play together. Oh, those two are big dogs compared to the papillon. Rusty splashes in the wading pool. Jewel hides behind my legs. Scampy plays fetch. Go, Jewel, go get the ball, I yell. Jewel just looks at me. She gets exhausted pretty quickly, I tell my friends. That's a fancy word for tired. While Jewel gets her beauty rest, we have refreshments. Oh, Jewel is taking a nap. I like naps too. Oh no, look what my sister is doing. Poor Jewel is terrified. Mom, come quick, Jewel's going to be sick. Her sister's pulling her in the wagon, and she's going up and down. Uh-oh. When we get her papillon, I'm not letting her near it, I say. My mom whispered, she doesn't know better. She was trying to be nice. I know that. We take Jewel back to her house. She is a perfect dog for Mrs. Devine, but maybe she isn't the perfect dog for us. I am sad. I hardly get fancy when we go to the King's Crown for dinner. She's sad because she can't get a doggy right now. Or the papillon won't work for her. On the way home, we drive by the animal shelter. Let's take a look, my mom says. All those dogs need a family to love them. I ask the lady, are there any fancy dogs here? And she says, I think I have just the dog for you. She's funny and playful and smart and cuddly. Her name is Frenchie. There's Frenchie right there. Ooh. Frenchie, I like the sound of that. Frenchie runs right to me and jumps in my lap. She likes it when my sister hugs her. Frenchie is the perfect dog for us. She looks fancy, huh? Not Nancy, I mean Frenchie. My dad says Frenchie is a LaSalle Spaniel. This is a very unique breed. Unique is a fancy word for one of a kind. You know what? Maybe that's even better than fancy. The end. Remember, this is the Fancy Nancy and the Posh Puppy.